Jared Leto, one of the most talented people in the world. His band 30 Seconds to Mars has sold 15 million albums, and as an actor, he's an Academy Award winner where his movies made $4.6 billion total. But there's just one big question. Does he have a cult? And in 1998, when Jared Leto was this up-and-coming actor, he had an idea to form a band with his brother Shannon Leto called 30 Seconds to Mars, and since that point they have had a huge success where they've done 6 full albums which have sold 15 million copies worldwide, and the band has actually made $120 million total. And doing the band like everybody else, they're always trying to figure out how to make more and more money, which is totally fine, everybody does it, but then they came up with this idea called Mars Colony, which was this retreat that was going to be taking place on an island outside of Croatia, and they were going to charge $7,200 for everyone who participated. When Jared Leto announced this, a lot of people said it was going to be Fire Festival 2.0, where it was going to be this expensive festival that people would come out for and it was going to be a total disaster, but Jared Leto had a different approach to it. And that's because for years, Jared Leto has been telling people he's been enlightened by meditation, holistic healing, and because of that, this wasn't just going to be a music festival, but instead a 3-day getaway experience where people could be enlightened with him. And this is not really that uncommon on surface, where a lot of wealthy hipsters try to be rebellious, and that's why they go to things like Burning Man, where 70,000 people went last year and it made $62 million. At the same time, Mars Colony is a lot more different of an experience because Jared Leto is always seen wearing white robes, and actually everyone else there is under orders to wear white at all time. And along with having to do that dress code, they do have some pretty strict rules on the island, with one example being they're not actually allowed to talk until the morning is over. And then throughout the day, it's not actually musical performances like a lot of people who bought tickets thought, but instead it's actually meditations run by Jared Leto throughout the entire day of just him talking calmly. And the actual concerts Jared Leto does are also really strange because everybody is again required to wear white, and at the same time it's not done on a stage, but instead everyone's surrounding him in a circle, and they also have to sing along at all times and also cry in the process as well. These photos as well as the reviews went viral, and they've been doing this now for a few years, so there is this joke online that Jared Leto is some sort of cult leader, but at the same time many people have looked deeper at this and they realize there are actually some serious things going on. And the first complaint was brought up by Dylan Sprouse from Sweet Life of Zack and Cody, who directly called out Jared Leto on Twitter, accusing him of trying to DM every single model ages 18 to 25. And that's likely due to Barvin Palavin, who is currently married to Dylan Sprouse and his wife, and when she was younger, Jared Leto did follow her on Instagram, but she didn't actually follow him back. Then there's also been weird claims going on for over a decade, like this one from Allie Teals in 2012, who she made the accusation that Jared Leto tried to force himself on her at backstage at a concert. Then another complaint from a big name was DC President James Gunn, who accused Jared Leto of being way too into younger women. And the way this happened was Jared Leto was in the original Suicide Squad movie, which wasn't directed by James Gunn, but he was in the movie for 5 minutes, and DC wanted to build a future with him. And that's why a lot of people were shocked when James Gunn was assigned to direct the sequel to Suicide Squad, The Suicide Squad, but didn't include Jared Leto in the casting. It all comes down to one comment that James Gunn made about Jared Leto previously when he was asked about Jared Leto hitting on girls who were 18. That's when James Gunn made the joke about Jared Leto, saying, wait, he waits until they're 18 years old to start messaging them, pointing out this idea that Jared Leto approaches teenage girls that are not even 18 years old yet and not legal. And then what says a lot is how Jared Leto responds to these accusations, where he doesn't go against James Gunn, he doesn't go against any of the women, he doesn't go against people like Dylan Sprouse, but instead he just tries to censor them on social media, with the big example being Dylan Sprouse, where he actually had that tweet deleted after he called him out, and then Dylan Sprouse posted it on Instagram and said, nice try, Satan, to Jared Leto. That's what a lot of people who previously attended Mars Island said is Jared Leto's scheme, where he's not actually trying to really lead this cult and think that he's some sort of Jesus-type figure, but instead he just tries to make some money off of people who are attending, and then at the same time invite younger women to go for free, normally teenagers, and they're sleeping with him the entire time of the 3-day festival, treating him like some sort of god. Then there's also a defense of Jared Leto throughout all of this, where some people who've attended Mars Island and know Jared Leto said that he's not actually doing anything creepy, but he's just trying to do method acting because it helps him build up his structure for his music and his creative process. Explaining method acting is when actors try to do crazy things in real life to pretend to be the characters to get ready for the role, with the big example being Robert Downey Jr.'s performance in Tropic Thunder. But Jared Leto seems to take it really too far, where after Suicide Squad it was reported that he sent a dead rat to Margot Robbie, but there actually has been a lot of other creepy stuff they did. With one big example being used condoms, where he'd actually mail female members of the cast and crew used condoms, which hopefully weren't actually used. And there also was an animal rights issue as well, because it was reported he also sent the crew a dead pig randomly, and it was actually believed that he killed the pig himself and just mailed it in. And then there were also very strange things he did, like Morbius, where he opted to walk in crutches in real life because his character had a few scenes walking in crutches, and it caused issues filming because it would take him 45 minutes just to go to the bathroom. Another extreme happened in Blade Runner 2049, where while making the movie, he decided to actually walk around wearing contacts that intentionally made him blind, and he actually nearly had a fatal accident because of it. This all started with Requiem for a Dream, where he he had this idea that he had to live like an addict to play one, so he lost 30 pounds in a very rapid period of time, but then he also made the decision to live in the New York City subways thinking it would make a better performance. And that's where this whole question of the cult of Jared Leto comes in, where it's this idea of, is he the character or is this just some sort of weird acting thing? But ultimately, at the end of the day, he does have 9 serious accusations. You have James Gunn, you have Dylan Sprouse, who don't throw away accusations easily. So because of that, I think on women, Jared Leto is definitely a creep. But when it comes to a cult leader, I think this is just all some long performance for his own ego. But with that, I'm Charles Peralta. Please subscribe to learn something.